Join me as I dive into the wild world of Inside Out 2 and try to react to the craziest character designs, mixing disgust with seduction. Let's see how that works out. Inside Out 2 is all about exploring new emotions, and I'm excited to dive into one of the most intriguing combinations, disgust and seduction. It's a weird and wild ride, and I'm curious to see how these two emotions will play out in the story. Representing complex emotions in animation is a huge challenge, and it's something that the Inside Out franchise has always excelled at. By personifying emotions as characters, the filmmakers can create a visual representation of how these emotions interact and influence each other. But when you're dealing with emotions like disgust and seduction, it gets even more complicated. Disgust is all about revulsion and rejection, while seduction is about attraction and persuasion. How do you animate those opposing forces in a way that feels authentic and believable? The key to making it work is to create characters that are nuanced and multidimensional. You can't just have a one-note disgust character or a seduction character, you need to give them depth and complexity. Maybe the disgust character has a dry sense of humor or a hidden vulnerability, while the seduction character has a manipulative streak or a charming wit. By adding those layers, you can create dynamics between the characters that feel more realistic and engaging. When you add animation to the mix, it gets even more interesting. The way the characters move, the way they interact with each other, it all contributes to the emotional tone of the scene. The animators have to think about how to convey the emotions through body language, facial expressions, and dialogue. It's a delicate balance, but when it works, it's magic. Let's take a closer look at how the character design choices and animation styles bring these emotions to life. One of the most striking things about Inside Out 2 is the way the characters' designs reflect their emotions. The disgust character, for example, has a more angular, asymmetrical design that conveys a sense of discomfort and unease. The seduction character, on the other hand, has a more fluid, curved design that exudes confidence and charm. The way they move, the way they interact, it's all choreographed to emphasize their emotional states. In one pivotal scene, the disgust and seduction characters have a confrontation that's both hilarious and cringeworthy. The way they clash, the way they try to one-up each other, it's like a dance, with each character playing off the other's emotions. The animation is impeccable, with every gesture, every facial expression, and every line delivery perfectly capturing the emotional tone. It's a masterclass in storytelling, and it's all thanks to the brilliant character design and animation. That scene is just one example of how Inside Out 2 nails the emotional depth and humor. By combining disgust and seduction in unexpected ways, the filmmakers create a story that's both surprising and authentic. And it's all thanks to the incredible character designs and animation that bring these emotions to life. So, what do you think about the character designs and emotions in Inside Out 2? Do you have a favorite moment or character? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more Inside Out 2 content, check out my next video for even more reactions and analysis. as I take on the challenge of designing the most intense and over-the-top anger character for Inside Out 2. In this video, you'll explore the exciting character design process for anger in Inside Out 2, highlighting how this beloved emotion is set to evolve. Designing a character like Anger, who resonates with audiences of all ages, is a delicate balancing act. On one hand, we want to create a character that accurately portrays the nuances of anger, which can be a very complex and multifaceted emotion. On the other hand, we want to make sure that the character is relatable and lovable, despite being, well, angry. One of the biggest challenges we face when designing anger is making sure that the character doesn't come across as too aggressive or off-putting. Anger can be a very intense emotion, and if we're not careful, the character can end up feeling overwhelming or even scary. Another challenge we face is finding ways to visually represent the emotion of anger in a way that feels true to the character. For example, should Anger's design be more fiery and explosive, or should it be more contained and simmering? When it comes to designing a character like Anger, it's all about striking the right balance between these different elements, and finding a way to bring the character to life in a way that feels authentic and engaging. When designing Anger, we knew that we wanted to create a character that was both intense and lovable at the same time. We started by playing around with different color palettes, looking for a way to visually represent the emotion of anger in a way that felt true to the character. We experimented with different shades of red, from deep, fiery reds to more muted, simmering tones. We also looked at different texture options, considering everything from rough, rocky surfaces to smooth, sleek designs. As we iterated on the design, we started to think about Anger's personality traits, and how those traits would influence the character's overall aesthetic. For example, we knew that Anger was going to be a very passionate and intense character, so we wanted to make sure that the design reflected that intensity. One of the biggest breakthroughs we had was when we started to think about Anger's design in terms of real-life experiences of anger. We realized that anger is often a very physical emotion, and that it can manifest in different ways, from clenched fists to tense muscles. This realization led us to explore different design options that incorporated these physical elements, such as Anger's signature clenched fists or his tense, corded muscles. We also started to think about how Anger's design could reflect the emotional intensity of the character, such as through the use of bold, vibrant colors or dynamic, kinetic poses. As we refined the design, we started to think about the pivotal moment in Anger's design evolution that would make him stand out in Inside Out 2. We knew that we wanted to create a character that would be both unexpected and unforgettable, and that would really capture the essence of the emotion. One of the ideas we explored was the concept of anger as a force of nature, with the character's design reflecting the intense, elemental power of the emotion. We created concept art that showed anger as a kind of tornado or hurricane, with powerful winds and flames swirling around him. Another idea we explored was the concept of anger as a pressure cooker, with the character's design reflecting the building tension and intensity of the emotion. We created concept art that showed anger as a kind of ticking time bomb, with steam hissing out of his ears and his face red with rage. As we refined the design, we started to think about how the new design for anger would enhance the film's narrative and emotional depth. We realized that the character's updated design would allow us to explore new themes and ideas, such as the importance of emotional release and the dangers of unchecked anger. The new design for Anger adds a whole new layer of depth and complexity to the character, and really allows us to dive deeper into the emotional nuances of the film. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any thoughts on Anger's new design, be sure to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my other videos for more animated insights and behind-the-scenes peeks into the world of character design.
Huh?
I take on the challenge of drawing inside out but with a seductive twist. Let's see if I can pull off this mind-blowing transformation. Today, I want to talk about transforming traditional drawing techniques into something more captivating, something that draws you in and refuses to let go. It's an artistic journey that requires us to push beyond the boundaries of what we think is possible, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. When we create artwork, we often focus on making it visually stunning, but what if I told you that there's more to it than just aesthetics? What if I told you that you could create artwork that not only captivates but also evokes a deeper emotional response from viewers? That's what we're chasing today, that wow factor that takes our art to the next level. The truth is, as artists, we often struggle to create something that resonates with our audience on a deeper level. We pour our hearts and souls into our work, but sometimes it just doesn't seem to connect. So, how do we bridge that gap? How do we create artwork that speaks to people on an emotional level? One of the biggest challenges we face is creating a sense of intimacy and vulnerability in our artwork. We need to make our viewers feel like they're experiencing something special, something that's unique to them. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video, how to create artwork that draws you in and refuses to let go. Let's dive into the techniques of drawing from the inside out, shall we? This is where we flip the script and start creating from a place of vulnerability and intimacy. It's about tapping into our own emotions and experiences and channeling them onto the page. When we do this, our artwork takes on a life of its own. It becomes more relatable, more engaging, and more seductive. The key is to focus on the emotional essence of what we're trying to convey, rather than just the physical representation. When we do this, our artwork starts to tell a story that speaks to our viewers on a deeper level. It's no longer just about creating something that looks good, it's about creating something that feels good. As we explore this technique, you'll notice that our artwork starts to take on a more sensual, more seductive quality. It's not about creating something overtly sexual or provocative, but rather about creating something that draws you in and makes you feel something. And that's the magic of drawing from the inside out. It's about creating artwork that's not just visually stunning, but also emotionally resonant. Now, let's take a look at an example of how this technique can completely transform an artwork. I've taken a traditional piece and applied these techniques to create something truly mind-blowing. The difference is night and day. The original piece is good, but the transformed piece is captivating. It draws you in and refuses to let go, and that's exactly what we're going for. The transformation is stunning. The artwork has gone from being visually appealing to emotionally resonant. It's no longer just something you look at, it's something you experience. And that's the power of drawing from the inside out. It's about creating artwork that speaks to our viewers on a deeper level. In today's video, we've explored the power of drawing from the inside out and how it can transform our artwork into something truly captivating. We've talked about the importance of focusing on the emotional essence of what we're trying to convey, and how that can help us create artwork that resonates with our viewers on a deeper level. So, what do you think about this transformation? Have any thoughts or questions about drawing from the inside out? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more artistic tips and tricks. I'll see you in the next video. Today, I'm taking on the challenge of drawing emotions as hot guys from Inside Out 2, mixed with some K-drama flair. Let's see if I can make them as charming as they are colorful. The idea of combining these two worlds might seem strange at first, but think about it, the vibrant, emotional characters from Inside Out, reimagined as dashing K-drama leads, with all the romantic angst and drama that comes with it. The possibilities are endless, and I'm excited to dive in and explore this creative mashup. Representing emotions visually can be a tricky task, as they're often abstract and intangible. But by turning them into attractive, charismatic characters, we can make them more relatable and tangible. This fusion of Inside Out and K-drama aesthetics offers a unique opportunity to explore the complexities of human emotions in a fresh and captivating way. When we personify emotions as characters, we can better understand their motivations, desires, and conflicts, making them more accessible and engaging. By anthropomorphizing emotions, we can also tap into our natural desire to anthropomorphize, that is, attributing human-like qualities to non-human entities. This approach can make emotions feel more approachable, less daunting, and even entertaining. After all, who wouldn't want to see a charming, brooding joy character, or a sassy, fashionable disgust making a scene? In the world of K-drama, characters are often designed to be memorable, with distinct personalities, backstories, and motivations that drive the plot forward. By applying these storytelling principles to the emotions from Inside Out, we can create a rich, dynamic cast of characters that leap off the page, or in this case, the screen. Let's start with Joy, the bubbly, optimistic emotion who's always trying to keep Riley's spirits high. As a K-drama character, Joy would be the charismatic, golden boy lead, always flashing a dazzling smile and sporting a perfectly styled pompadour. He'd be the ultimate rom-com hero, always ready with a witty one-liner or a heartfelt speech to win over the heart of his beloved. Next up is Sadness, the emotional counterpart to Joy's sunny disposition. As a K-drama character, Sadness would be the melancholic, introspective heartthrob, with a penchant for rainy days and lingering gazes. He'd be the brooding, tortured soul, struggling to come to terms with his place in the world, and the object of affection for many a swooning fan. Fear would be the angsty, rebellious bad boy, always dressed in the latest edgy fashion trends and sporting a swoon-worthy fringe. He'd be the mysterious, troubled soul, always on the periphery of the action, but with a hidden soft spot for our heroine. Anger would be the feisty, hot-headed hothead, always ready to take on the world and defend his friends. As a K-drama character, he'd be the cocky, arrogant rich boy, with a penchant for designer suits and high-stakes drama. And Disgust, Disgust would be the sassy, fashion-forward queen bee, always dripping in style and attitude, with a quick wit and a sharp tongue to match. In this fantastical world, all the emotions converge in a dramatic, whirlwind scene, like something out of a K-drama finale. Joy is trying to orchestrate a grand romantic gesture, while Sadness lingers in the background, looking on wistfully. Fear is plotting some kind of reckless stunt, anger is shouting at someone, and Disgust is rolling her eyes at the entire spectacle. It's a chaotic, over-the-top mess, but somehow, it works, because in this world, the emotions are free to be as loud, proud, and vibrant as they want to be. Looking back, it's been an absolute blast reimagining the emotions from Inside Out as charming K-drama characters. Who knew that Joy could be so dashing, or Sadness so swoon-worthy? It just goes to show that with a little creativity, we can transform even the most abstract concepts into something fresh, exciting, and above all, memorable. So, which Inside Out emotion would you want to see get the K-drama treatment? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out my other videos for more creative mashups and artistic challenges. Join me as I take on the challenge of turning the concept of sadness from inside out into dark, goth-inspired monsters. Can I bring these emotions to life in a totally unique way? When we think about emotions, we often think about how they make us feel, but have you ever thought about how they could be visually represented? For me, combining emotions with art is a way to tap into the complexities of the human experience. Today, I want to focus on one emotion in particular, sadness. How can we take this feeling and turn it into something tangible, something that speaks to our souls? That's where Gothic themes come in. One of the reasons I think sadness is so hard to express visually is that it's such a nuanced emotion. It's not just one feeling, but a whole spectrum of emotions that can be difficult to pin down. How do you take something as intangible as a feeling and turn it into a visual representation that does it justice? It's a challenge that many artists face, and it's one that I'm excited to take on. I think that's why so many artists struggle to create art that truly captures the essence of sadness. It's not just about making something look sad, it's about evoking that feeling in the viewer. It's about creating a sense of empathy, of understanding, that says, I get it. I've been there too. But how do you do that? How do you take a feeling that's so deeply personal and make it relatable to others? I think that's where the beauty of art comes in. Art has the power to transcend language, to speak directly to our emotions. It can take the intangible and make it tangible, the invisible and make it visible. And when it comes to sadness, I think that's especially true. Maybe that's why I'm so drawn to Gothic art, because it has a way of capturing the darkness, the intensity, the complexity of human emotion. Gothic art is all about exploring the darker side of life, and I think that's what makes it so perfect for representing sadness. It's got a way of tapping into our deep-seated fears, our anxieties, our doubts. It's not afraid to go to the darker places, to explore the shadows, to confront the monsters that lurk within. And that's exactly what I want to do with my art today. I want to take the character of sadness from inside out and turn her into a dark, Gothic-inspired monster. So, what makes Goth art so well suited to representing sadness? For me, it's all about the aesthetic. Goth art is all about dark colors, bold lines, and intense emotions. It's about creating a sense of drama, of tension, of foreboding. And when it comes to sadness, I think that's especially relevant. Sadness is a feeling that can be overwhelming, crushing, suffocating. It's a feeling that can make us feel like we're drowning, like we're trapped in a never-ending cycle of pain and despair. But Goth art doesn't just stop at aesthetics, it's also about the themes it explores. Goth art is all about exploring the human psyche, about delving deep into our darkest fears and desires. It's about confronting the unknown, the unknowable, the unseen. And when it comes to sadness, I think that's especially true. Sadness is a feeling that can be so hard to understand, so hard to articulate. It's a feeling that can leave us feeling lost, alone, and adrift. But Goth art can take that feeling and turn it into something beautiful, something haunting, something that speaks to our very souls. So, what does this piece of art look like? For me, it's all about capturing the essence of sadness from inside out. I want to take her blue, teary-eyed face and turn it into something dark, something brooding, something menacing. I want to take her sorrow and turn it into a living, breathing creature that exudes pain, despair, and desperation. I want to take her sadness and turn it into a monster that's both beautiful and terrifying. As I look at this piece of art, I'm struck by how it captures the complexity of sadness. It's not just a feeling, it's a living, breathing entity that takes on a life of its own. It's a creature that's both fragile and strong, both beautiful and terrifying. And that's what I love about it. It's a reminder that sadness isn't just a feeling, it's a part of who we are. It's a reminder that we're not alone, that we're all struggling to make sense of this crazy, messy thing called life. In the end, that's what art is all about, taking the intangible and making it tangible, taking the invisible and making it visible. It's about capturing the essence of the human experience, about speaking to our deepest fears, desires, and hopes. And for me, that's what this piece of art does. It takes the concept of sadness and turns it into something beautiful, something haunting, something that speaks to our very souls. Thanks for joining me on this journey of exploring sadness through art. If you have any thoughts on how you like to represent sadness in your own art, please let me know in the comments below. And if you want to explore more videos on art and emotions, be sure to check out my next video. Join see if I can capture all those feelings in just 1 hour. Today, I'm going to be drawing my emotions as characters from Inside Out 2 using just my phone. It's a bit unconventional, but I'm excited to see how it turns out. My goal for this challenge is to take 2 emotions that I think are pretty relatable, embarrassment and anxiety, and transform them into creative representations through art. I've got my phone, I've got my fingers, and I've got an hour. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm jumping right into the drawing process. I'm not really sure what's going to come out, but I'm going to try to tap into those feelings of embarrassment and anxiety and see what kind of characters emerge. So, I've started with this little demon guy to represent my embarrassment. I'm thinking lots of reds and pinks to really capture that flushed, flustered feeling. And, oh man, I just added these giant, goofy eyes that are making me laugh. I think that's exactly what I needed to get over my own embarrassment. As I'm drawing, I'm realizing that anxiety is going to be a lot harder to capture. It's such a vague, squirmy feeling. How do you even draw that? But then I started thinking about those aliens from Inside Out 2, and how they're always kind of jittery and on edge. That's exactly what anxiety feels like to me, being on edge all the time. Okay, so I've got my anxiety alien started, and I'm really playing up those long, spindly limbs to give it this kind of frantic energy. And, oh wow, I just added this huge, worried expression that's making me feel a bit anxious just looking at it. One thing I love about drawing on my phone is that it's so forgiving. If I make a mistake, I can just erase it and start again. But, at the same time, it's also forcing me to be really loose and spontaneous, which is actually kind of liberating. I'm not overthinking anything, I'm just letting my emotions guide my fingers. I've got to say, I'm really pleased with how these characters are coming along. The demon is looking super embarrassed, and the alien is looking super anxious. It's like they're feeding off each other's emotions or something. One technique I found really helpful is using different brush strokes to capture the texture and feeling of each emotion. For the demon, I'm using these big, sweeping strokes to give it a really soft, fluffy texture. It's like you can just reach out and touch its embarrassing little face. For the anxiety alien, I'm using these tiny, twitchy strokes to give it a really restless, jittery feel. It's like you can see its anxiety pulsing through its veins or something. As I'm drawing, I'm realizing that these characters are actually helping me process my emotions in a way that feels really powerful. I'm not just thinking about how I'm feeling, I'm actually seeing it right in front of me, and that's kind of amazing. There's this one moment when I'm drawing the demon's face, and I accidentally add this huge, goofy grin. It's like the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. But, at the same time, it's kind of freeing. Like, I'm acknowledging that embarrassment is a part of life, and that it's okay to laugh at myself sometimes. As I'm finishing up these drawings, I can feel my emotions shifting in a way that feels really positive. It's like I've taken these amorphous feelings of embarrassment and anxiety, and I've turned them into something tangible and manageable. This experience has been really eye-opening for me. It's shown me that art can be this powerful tool for processing our emotions and transforming them into something creative and positive. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you've ever struggled with embarrassing or anxiety-inducing emotions, I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you want to see more art challenges like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon to turn on notifications. See you in the next video. Join me as I challenge myself to draw the feelings of ennui and envy, channeling my inner snake and mosquito, all using just my phone. Today, I'm taking on a creative challenge to bring to life the emotions of ennui and envy as a snake and a mosquito from Inside Out 2, and I'm doing it all with my trusty phone. I'm super excited to dive into this project and see how my phone can help me bring these feelings to life through art. To start, I'll be using a digital drawing app on my phone to create these pieces. I love the flexibility and convenience of using my phone for art. It allows me to work on my creations whenever and wherever I want. Let's get started with the drawing process. I've got my phone set up, and I'm ready to begin. For the ennui snake, I'm thinking of a slumped posture with a hint of sadness in its eyes. I'll start by blocking out the basic shape of the snake, and then add in some details like scales and facial features. As I work on the snake, I'm getting a sense of its emotions. It's feeling a bit bored and unfulfilled. Moving on to the envy mosquito, I want to capture its sense of longing and resentment. I'm picturing a mosquito with a slightly greenish tint to its body, and a scowl on its face. I'll start by drawing the basic shape of the mosquito, and then add in some details like wings and facial features. As I work on the mosquito, I'm getting a sense of its emotions. It's feeling frustrated and resentful. As I continue to work on these drawings, I'm finding that it's getting easier to tap into the emotions of the characters. The snake is really starting to look bored and unfulfilled, and the mosquito is radiating frustration and resentment. Okay, so I've hit a bit of a roadblock. My phone stylus is being a bit finicky, and it's hard to get the details just right. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'll just take a deep breath, and try to troubleshoot the issue. The moment of truth has arrived. It's time to reveal my finished drawings. And I have to say, I'm really pleased with how they turned out. The snake looks perfectly bored and unfulfilled, and the mosquito is radiating frustration and resentment. I'm feeling a sense of accomplishment and pride in my work. Here are the finished drawings side by side, the ennui snake and the envy mosquito. I think they really capture the essence of these complex emotions. The snake looks so slumped and defeated, while the mosquito is seething with resentment. I'm curious to hear from you. How do you think I did in capturing these feelings through art? Take a closer look at the snake's face, and you can really see the ennui shining through. And the mosquito's body language is just so tense and frustrated. I'm really happy with how these turned out, and I hope you are too. So what do you think? Have I successfully captured the emotions of ennui and envy through my drawings? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more creative challenges and art tutorials. Thanks for watching.